Hello and welcome to People and Profit. I'm Yuka Royer in for Charles Pellegrin. This week, as Friedrich Merz got off to a rocky start to his chancellorship, we'll take a look at the challenges ahead for Germany's new conservative leader and at how Europe's largest economy has gone from full throttle to idle.
I am very much aware of the responsibility that this office entails. I accept this responsibility with humility, ladies and gentlemen, but also with determination and confidence.
His coming to power couldn't have been more extraordinary. Merz first failed to secure enough votes in the Bundestag to become chancellor, something that had never happened in post-war Germany. Hours later, he secured a majority in a second round. The setback demonstrates how fragile his leadership could be at a crucial time for Europe's largest economy, which has been struggling for years. Luke Schrager looks at issues plaguing the nation.
It was once the engine of European growth, but for years now, Germany's economy has been at stalling point. The economy shrank for 2 consecutive years and is set to remain stagnant this year. A web of interlocking factors is hamstringing German productivity and eroding its industrial base. A lack of investment in ageing infrastructure is a major one. The decision to phase out nuclear power has made energy transition slow and expensive, with the Ukraine war forcing Europe to wean itself off cheap Russian gas, only worsening the problem. Elsewhere, there are bureaucratic hurdles to any kind of dynamic thinking within businesses and systemic risk aversion. It's not just pushed a number of firms to relocate abroad with ensuing German job losses, but has led to those left behind unable to keep up with foreign competitors. Some of those rivals, like China, were once among Germany's major export destinations, and now in turn are flooding domestic markets with cheaper alternatives as Donald Trump's tariffs threaten to upend global trade. What's more, an ageing population and a shrinking labour pool have dimmed future prospects, something made yet more precarious with a new government's line on cracking down on immigration. Berlin has made some moves to free up its hands when it comes to its purse strings, like removing its constitutional limit on spending, and setting up a €500 billion fund to spend on infrastructure will likely help. But much deeper and far-reaching reform will still be needed if Germany is to turn its fortunes around.
For more on the path ahead for the new German government, let's cross now to Berlin to speak with Frederik Lange, Senior Manager for Research and Industrial and Economic Policy at the Federation of German Industries. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Now, Frederik, the new Chancellor aims to revive growth, but how much confidence do German businesses have in him? Do you think he can get Germany back on track, as he says?
Yes, so thank you very much. It's a very challenging situation in Germany. Just to give a little bit context at the very start. In Germany, basically, the whole economy has not grown over the past 5 years. So we were stagnant since 5 years. And also the potential growth estimates for Germany are particularly low. They estimated at just around 0.4%, which is basically the lowest in the whole European Union. And then when it comes to German industry, a sector I'm representing, it's even worse the situation. Industry has been down since the start of the pandemic, so it's basically since 2019, by 10%. And energy-intensive industries, like steel, like cement, like aluminum, have even been down together by 15%. So really, we're in a situation where a lot of reforms need to be done, as you also outlined in the introductory video. And we're seeing very positive signals from the German government, also in its coalition agreement, where there are many positive measures. But these really need to be put into action, and these need to be put into action fast.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Germany hasn't had meaningful growth since COVID. Then there was the pandemic and then the war in Ukraine, and now Donald Trump is back in the White House. Endemic issues like over-regulation and lack of investment are compounding those problems. What needs to be done then? Can you elaborate a little bit more on the reforms that could be done for Germany to shake off its undesirable sick man of the Europe, Monica?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we really need to recognize it's not anymore in Germany a short-term economic slowdown, but as you rightly pointed out, a structural issue which needs to be tackled. And to tackle these, we can only do it by implementing the right reforms. And there are, of course, many issues, but we see four key priority areas. One is the story of energy prices. Energy prices in Germany are extremely high, among the highest in the world. And here, now something needs to be done. So this involves, for example, cutting electricity prices by basically lowering taxes down to the European minimum level. But it also means capping the grid fees for the electricity grids. Then second, corporate taxation in Germany is also extremely high. Basically, corporate taxation on average is around 30%, also among the highest in the world. And here we need a gradual reduction. We see some positive signs of the new German government, which is planning to basically gradually bring down the taxation of corporates. But we would have hoped that it's been done much sooner. And the third point I would like to make is on bureaucracy. In Germany, we have a lot of red tape. And the German government really needs to launch a strong deregulation program to speed up notably planning and permitting procedures of businesses. And then finally, also when it comes to social security, we have not seen a reform for many, many years, and also something here which is both bringing Germany to a position which is financially sustainable, but also which is fair across generations would be much needed.
And there's also the issue of Germany's debt brake. Now, the previous coalition that came to power on a high promise of economic miracle collapsed due to disagreements over fiscal discipline. How fragile then is the new coalition, do you think, when it comes to at a time when Germany needs to boost spending, to beef up its defences and so forth?
It's definitely a key issue to look at the fiscal front. I don't want to speculate on German party politics, but what I can say for German economic growth, a fiscal boost would be much needed, notably in terms of infrastructure, but also of defense. And we are seeing that if the programs which are outlined with a special fund, but also when it comes to the higher military spending, would significantly boost growth, notably as of 2026. We don't think it would have in the short term a very big impact just because there's a lag, it needs time to be implemented. So in the very short term, we are still likely to see very low German economic growth, which is going to be very hardly hit also by the tariffs in the US. But in the longer term, there should be a significant boost to German growth, which is hopefully also helping to bring up the very lackluster productivity growth we had been seeing over the last couple of years.
Now, Friedrich Merz comes to power at a time when there's enormous uncertainty facing global trade, with the world's two largest economies locked in a trade war. There's also growing fear in Europe that cheap Chinese goods locked out of the US market would then make their way to Europe. How can Germany, as the continent's manufacturing powerhouse, stave off increased competition, becoming even stiffer from the Asian giant?
Yes, it's a key issue for an export-driven economy like Germany nowadays, the tariff story, because with the tariffs, you basically have several effects which hit Germany very strongly. You have the direct effects of the tariff, which basically mean exporting into the US market gets much more difficult. But you also have indirect effects of the tariff, which is something like higher geopolitical uncertainty, disrupted supply chains, but also the stronger euro, which we're currently seeing compared to the US dollar. The euro actually went up by 10% since the start of the year. And this makes exporting into the US even more expensive than it would just be by the tariffs. So really it becomes then a story of internal competitiveness where we need to regain strength. And it brings me really back to the points I made earlier when it comes to energy prices, which need to be lowered to be competitive, which comes to bureaucracy, but also which comes to supporting the key sectors, notably key sectors for the future, which Germany, or which should help the country to strive.
So Mr. Merz is promising to move Germany forward through reforms and investments, as you mentioned. Is it, though, as it stands today, an attractive investment destination? How can it regain its voice on the international stage?
Yes, so I would say the economic fundamentals in Germany are still pretty strong. Germany overall has strong labor market, it's strong in education, it's strong in R&D. But of course, the economy has been hit by multiple shocks, as you also outlined earlier. And this means some reforms, notably in labor markets, but also notably in bureaucracy, also when it comes to digitalization, have to be done to really improve Germany's prospect in the world again, so that it becomes again one of the countries which are perceived by international investors of those countries that are highly attractive to be invested in.
With the new chancellor, the new government in place, is there a lot of optimism among businesses, particularly in the manufacturing sector right now?
Yes, so overall, the coalition agreement has many important parts, many good parts in it. And we would agree to a large share of it. For instance, the speedier depreciation rules, which are highlighted there. The ideas on the energy domain are very strong. And also, I mentioned the red tape today a lot. It's also widely recognized. But the real issue is now really to come from words, to come from papers, to implementation and action. And that's what we would like to see.
Oh, Frederik Lange from the Federation of German Industries, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's all for this week. But remember, if you'd like to watch this and all our previous shows again, they're available on our website and YouTube channel. You can also listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to send us your comments, you can also reach out to us on social media. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned if you can for more world news here on France 24.